Chuck Carroll, SecurityGuideTV.com, ASISTV.org. My next contestant, what's your name, sir?
Travis Dial.
Now, don't be modest because it's Dr. Travis Dial, right?
Fair enough.
Okay, very good. And your name and your website?
CobaltRobotics.com.
And every time you say robotics, I go like this. I get a little nervous, but I'm kind of getting into the fold, and learning robotics aren't necessarily problematic because people like you are on the case. Tell us about what's going on with the industry and whatnot.
Well, the really exciting thing for us is that we're seeing a lot of adoption, like people taking up robots, installing them in their spaces, and really driving home that it's not just security, it's not scary, it's not RoboCop, it's not Terminator, it's like Baymax from Big Hero 6 or Wall-E or R2-D2, right? It's friendly and approachable, and it's doing security, it's employee health and safety, it's facilities management, and emergency response. Like, the robots are out there doing all of these tasks today. You know, we have robots coast to coast with companies like giant enterprises in the Fortune 100, tech, defense, finance, manufacturing, all the way down to little 200-person startups.
Now, you said a very interesting word, and I think you said it on purpose, but you said people are adopting robots. Is this an industry terminology?
We often let the customer name the robot, right? It's part of their security program, so we leave it to them to name the specific robots. We just call them cobalts. They're cobalt robots out in the wild.
Adoption makes it a personal thing. That's very interesting. Now,
Indeed.
I watch a lot of robot shows. I love that you've seen these ones. There's one out this year, takes place in Russia. Have you seen that one?
I haven't.
Where the robots look so real. Now they can't be distinguished, right? That's like the other British show they did, right? How far away are we from that? I think we're closer than people think we are.
I don't know about that.
Well, is 20 years close?
Could be, but for right now, I think the main thing is to make sure that robots should be friendly and approachable, right? We need to make sure that anyone who's in that space knows what it is, what it's doing, and how it benefits them, right? And you want, fundamentally as a security product, you want it to blend into the background most of the time and only come to the foreground when and where it's useful, and then always be approachable. You want someone to run up and interact with the robot, especially if they need help with something. And so that's a big part of how we onboard new customers, right? Is this cultural adoption piece.
Okay.
It's the communications, the change management. It's going through and making sure that the people interacting with your system know what it is and know that they can go up to it and engage and interact.
Now, is a robot a computer? Is it an endpoint? Is it firmware? Is it hardware? And where does it fit into the Internet of Things, right? I would assume it may be some gaps in legislation, gaps in certification, gaps in IT certificates. It's a different thing, right?
Well, so the amazing part of what we do is you don't actually have to care because we offer the entire thing as a service, right? So it's the hardware, the firmware, the software, the updates, the remote human being is all part of this service. And all the robot is doing is it's the remote eyes and ears that let one remote person be in many places at once, right? So the technology is moving around autonomously through the space. It builds up a model of what is normal and then flags anomalies. Right? Things like people, motions, sounds, leaks and spills, open doors, environmental anomalies. And anytime it detects one, you're just notifying a remote human being who can come in, have a remote video interaction right there through the robot and respond to things when and where they happen. And so for us, you don't have to care about any of that. We always say to our customers, think of it like a duck up on the water, right? Calm, cool, and collected on the top, and then we take care of all the paddling like crazy underneath to make sure it's all just a seamless interaction.
All right, fair enough. Talk to me about the challenges of personal identifiable information. California, very strict.
Yeah.
Other states, maybe not so. GDPR, I think, from Europe is coming here in some form eventually. That must be a challenge to you guys.
So, any new technology, especially a very sensitive technology like a mobile robot, like cameras, like access control, you need to go through and make sure that from a data protection standpoint, data protection, permissions, privacy, cybersecurity, all of these things are part of the process of onboarding any technology into a modern organization. At Cobalt, we really lean into that. We went through and do external third-party pen testing. We do SOC 2 certifications around the policies and the technologies that are there implemented on the robot. All of this is to say it's best-in-class cybersecurity hygiene that you would expect from any vendor in your space. And I think you really have to architect the system from the beginning to do that. And then when it comes to specific policies around privacy, it's really to be educated on what they are and to make sure our systems comply. And so, if you're looking at biometric data in Illinois, pretty restrictive. If you're looking at California, also restrictive. There's 7 or 8 other states that are all looking at legislation around biometric data, facial recognition. all of these things, from Cobalt's perspective, our goal is just to make sure that the system works seamlessly,
Right.
and you don't have to worry about it because we stay buttoned up. But of course, we engage frequently with lawyers and compliance people on both sides of the aisle.
Well, let's talk about that part. Are there new laws being written? You know, if I assault a person, that's one thing. If I assault a robot, am I getting close to assaulting a person? It functions the same way. These are ethics questions, and maybe it's far out there, but if it's just vandalism, that's really not a big penalty. And I think maybe we need to raise the bar on that kind of thing.
Well, I don't think we're at that level, right? For us, it really is. It's a machine. It's no different than a vending machine sitting in your space. It is vandalism if it's a machine, but the important thing is that you're never putting a human in harm's way.
Right.
Right. And so if they're in a dangerous situation, whether it's, an intruder and a breaking and entering, or if it's, just an environmental hazard, you're not putting a person in harm's way. That person is removed and remote so that they can stay calm, cool, and collected, respond to events as they occur. But you're still getting that perfect accountability of what's happening, where it's happening, the superhuman sensing that the robot has. You're getting all of this fundamental data so that you can reconstruct what actually occurred. And that's something, as I look at it, it's how do you take the best parts of a machine, superhuman sensing, unwavering attention, perfect recall, and marry it with the best parts of a person, the flexibility, the creativity, the cultural relevancy of us having this conversation. Right. And that's really about what Cobalt offers is how do you enable a security program, unlock a new tool that can provide coverage in a way and in locations that just wasn't possible before.
So what robots do we like best? Kiosk or roving? Where's the industry going?
Well, a stationary robot isn't really a robot. As a roboticist making definitions, it's not.
Okay, fair enough.
It is sense, plan, and act. And so to be the robot, you do need mobility.
Okay.
But there is a room for stationary systems, right? And so, in fact, there's many different form factors, whether it's stationary, ground indoor, ground outdoor, aerial outdoor. There's all sorts of applications for robotics. I think the really important thing is to be very intellectually honest about the capabilities we have today and the use cases that we can derive from that. For us on the indoor systems, we have a very clear use case. You should never take my word for it. We always say you should talk to the end users about what they like. But yeah, certainly you'll have a marriage of many of these different systems in the same way that you do with other technology components, access control and cameras. The fact that you have cameras doesn't negate the fact that you're probably going to want access control too.
So, Ms. Chelsea, thanks for bringing the doctrine again, because again, I feel a little better about the robot wars. I think they're delayed. I may escape them before they happen. And I feel good because you're a responsible operator. And you know what? You speak responsibly about the industry, and that's a different thing that I hear.
Well, for us, it's really about making services, robotic-enabled services, that are maximally helpful for the benefit of everyone.
Yeah.
And as long as that's our mission, that's where we're going, I think the world ends up becoming a better place because of it.
Fantastic. Dr. Travis, thanks for coming on the show again one more time. And we'll be back here at GSX 2019 live from Chicago, SecurityGuideTV.com and ASISTV.org. Back in a minute.